The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my own body from the multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally, cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, everything from medical to cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy. These experiences led us to discover the recipe that became known as the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox, cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-Day Healing Retreat. We have helped thousands of people just like you get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. If you want to know what that looks like, go to livingwaterscleanse.com and click on the video 4 Natural Laws of Healing, or call the office at 208-378-9911. Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Welcome to the show this morning. Living Waters Wellness Center is Idaho's largest colon hydrotherapy center and known for its 10-day cleanse and healing retreat. Each week we provide you the necessary education and tools to detox and heal the body following the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. To learn more details about the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. If you miss any parts of the show and want to re-listen to certain segments, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, Whole Body Detox Show, on any national platform. And even more than that, I would submit to you, Living Waters is what saved my life. For those of you who haven't heard my story, I spent about 20 years trying to figure out how to get well. I had suffered from allergies, asthma, severe psoriasis, acne, sore joints, sore muscles, eventually tore my ACL because I was so nutritionally deficient. And eventually I had cancer, and I had yeast candida, heavy metal poisoning. So all those things led to cancer at age 45. In fact, coming up here this next month, we'll have to have a celebration day because it'll be 20 years since I began my own personal natural cancer healing treatment. That could probably be a show on its own. But anyway, I'm here because colon hydrotherapy saved my life, and it saved thousands of people's lives as well that went through Living Waters Healing Retreat. And it can save your life too, give you a better life simply by healing the gut. It's your second brain. Today's show, we're going to be talking about 2 different modalities, because like this came up in a forum I was on this week. Colonoscopies. Should I get one? What's the difference between colon hydrotherapy and colonoscopy? So we're going to dive into that because it gets confused. Many people think, well, yeah, I did a colonoscopy. I'm cleaned out. Are you? You really think you're cleaned out? Well, we'll talk about that in the show because I'm going to submit to you, you're probably not cleaned out once you learn what's happening when you do a colonoscopy. So I went on the internet this morning and used the DuckDuckGo and Googles to do a little search and see what they say about colonoscopy. And I found some kind of hilarious things, and I found some very concerning things about colonoscopies. Now, personally, I'm coming to you with my own personal opinion here in the show today. Some of you, I'm not going to recommend whether you should or should not get a colonoscopy. It can be a great tool, but there are risks with it, and there's some very discomfort. And there's some better ways to prep for a colonoscopy than doing it the standard method. And we'll share that with you in a moment as well. So this show is all about colonoscopies versus colon hydrotherapy. So one of the things, as many of you know that have already done one, is you've got to do the purge, where they give you a very, very strong laxative. And you're going to probably be in the bathroom a lot. In fact, on this one website, I had a chuckle this morning. It says, stay in the bathroom. Bring something to entertain yourself, like a book, television, or laptop. You're going to be there a while, obviously. Apply diaper cream before the diarrhea starts. Use moist or medicated wipes to clean yourself. Anyway, so there's a lot of people that don't get through this part of it, which led a group of doctors back on the East Coast to say there's got to be a better way. And so you know what they did? They says, hey, what if we had people do colon hydrotherapy before they did colonoscopy? And what they found is that their rate of cancellation dropped like a rock. In other words, Before, people would just not get through the proper prep and they would not be able to do their colonoscopy. So when they started doing colon hydrotherapy, and the sharp, amazing clients that we have here who are in the know, who are going to do a colonoscopy, come to us and they'll do 3 colonics in a row. Now, if you're super constipated, you're probably going to want to do a few more colonics than that. We'll just have to see how it goes. Some of you are so backed up, so constipated, and you know who you are. If you're pooping like a rabbit, little pellets, that's a bad habit. And you're not getting evacuation every day, and so you're probably going to eventually have some polyps or tumors in that colon, and that's why doctors like to go in there and take a look around, see how things are doing. If there's a polyp, they can actually wrap a wire around it and yank it out. So that's why that's done, is for to see, do you have these precancerous or cancerous tumors or polyps? Now, if you've listened to my show for any length of time, you know what a polyp or a cyst or a tumor is. It's simply a toxic bucket. And you'll learn more about the toxic buckets over at the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link for Natural Laws of Healing. Fill out the little form that asks you for your name, phone number, and email. You'll get the webinar. Watch the 68-minute webinar because it's going to tell you in detail why you want to do colon hydrotherapy and how the body heals from within. So, and not only that, but there's some of the material, some of the laxatives they give you to do, quote, the purge is toxic stuff. Not fun taking toxic stuff, not good for your body. So there's some ingredients in those that are not the best for your body, in my humble and educated opinion. So there's that. So David, you say, well, gee, should I find out if I got a tumor or polyp? Sure, you should. But the big question to ask yourself, big picture, is step back. Because if you do have a tumor, if you do have a polyp, the question you got to ask yourself, how did it get there? How did it get there? How did you create the polyp, the cyst, the tumor in your colon, or anywhere else in your body for that matter? Well, it's because of the toxic lifestyle that you've been living. Look, we're all in a toxic bubble to begin with, but you're probably adding to it like I did years ago by drinking, 6 cans of sodas and eating Reese's peanut butter cups and Snickers bars and going to McDonald's and Burger King and all the fast food restaurants and not eating organic at all. And those eventually led me to have cancer as well. My cancer was not in my colon, it was in my liver and exited on my back. So what doctors will do, they'll prep you up, make sure you want to purge and want to have it very cleaned out. If you don't, you got to reschedule. So doing colon hydrotherapy before colonoscopy is a really smart move for that reason. And you're going to find yourself, like the one gal said, her husband actually works at the hospital, and they had moved here, and she sought me out, and I says, well, what do you tell them? She says, well, they asked me if I did my prep, and I says, yes, I did my prep. And her prep was doing colon hydrotherapy. As I mentioned, there's some doctors on the East Coast who that's what they have all their clients do now, is they go do colon hydrotherapy before colonoscopy. It's not a fun tasting drink, as I understand. It's not fun to be having to sit in the bathroom so long that you have to have a television in there, for crying out loud. That's a big deal. Now, I have never done a colonoscopy. Don't plan on it. My plan is to keep my colon healthy through eating the right foods and nutrition, doing the meditations, doing the emotional mental work, and cleansing on a regular basis. You cleanse your colon on a regular basis. As V.E. Irons said, if you had clean colon, you wouldn't have your disease. I mean, you got to follow the 4 natural laws. You learn about the 4 natural laws in the video, the webinar, Living Waters, over at livingwaterscleanse.com, and you're going to learn all about it there. So there are really 2 different items, colonoscopy, colon hydrotherapy. But colonoscopy, again, there are risks. So number 1 risk is they can actually puncture your colon if they're not careful. And that can be a big deal. That's a 911 emergency if you get a puncture and you go sepsis, for example. So big deal. That's happened. I have heard of people that clients of ours have reported that their friend or their loved one actually did it. That happened. They didn't catch it, unfortunately, and they ended up dying. So that's the big risk on the far spectrum. Again, these guys that do these colonoscopies day after day, I'm sure they're taking great care. Now, the other thing we've had reported back to us and you can also go research it yourself. As I understand, they can't get the tools perfectly sterilized, and for whatever reason, and I don't know that reason. Again, you can listen to David talk about his opinion and the information that I have heard here through the office and through others who have reported to me, and then a little research that I have done. But I've had people pick up a virus or a bacteria from that equipment. That's been reported to me. So anyway, those are a few of the risks. Again, it's probably a very, 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 very small percentage. I'm not going to discourage you from doing it. I just want to explain to you the differences and the risks. Now, there are some people out there that are convinced they need to do one every 2 years, every 3 years, once a year, because they've been told that by their doctor. When we come back in a moment, I'm going to talk about why that is and what some of the conditions you may have that would cause your doctor to have you do a colonoscopy more often than not. Talking today about colon hydrotherapy versus colonoscopy. What's the difference? Should you do both? Should you do neither? Should you skip one and do the other? So we've been talking about why it's important to have this procedure done, why they recommend it. They recommend it primarily, when you hit 40 to 50 years of age, they're saying, yeah, you probably should come and get checked out. And what are they checking you for? Well, they're looking to see how healthy that colon is and looking to see if you have any polyps or cysts or, heaven forbid, a tumor in there. And if that's the case, then they're going to recommend, if it's a polyp, they can simply pull those out. Now, the problem is that once they pull it out, they haven't quite completed the whole job. There are actually roots to that, or can be roots to that polyp or cyst, and especially tumors. And what we have found to be true over the years is that I've had many clients that came in here that have had cancer in their lungs or in their liver or maybe in a breast tissue. And they actually reported to me as I'm doing some diagnosis and having a consult with them that actually where it all started was in the colon. Because you see, they had a colonoscopy 5 years prior, 6 years prior, and they pulled some polyps up. And they didn't, the problem is there's roots to that. And those roots will grow and they'll move throughout the body if you're feeding it. How are you feeding cancer, David? Well, you're feeding cancer through bad diet, toxic chemicals, bad toxic food, sugars, bad energy, bad thoughts, not pooping properly. That's the biggest one. Because you think about it, you've got the average person, this is average, 12 to 15 pounds of just old fecal matter in your colon and small intestine. And that's the average weight loss that people come through our 10-day healing retreats experience, 10 to 15 pounds. It's not fat, it's poop. It's old toxic matter that's been sitting there rotting, creating candida yeast and fungus. And the body says, well, we got to find a place to store these chemicals. And this person just ate some white bread that wasn't organic. And not only is it sitting in here in the colon for a number of days or months or years, but it's also got a little glyphosate in it. And the liver's going, yeah, I tried to take care of it. I tried to put the glyphosate, store it here in a bile duct in the liver. But I just couldn't get it done. I'm kind of out of room out here, guys. My filter, the liver, is 50,000 bile ducts, and I can only do so much. So then the body says, well, where else can I store it? And then, of course, if you got this rotting mass in your colon, it's going to create a polyp or a tumor or a cyst. Heaven forbid it's a tumor. But what's really interesting to me over the years is that people come in and do the right things. Follow the 4 natural laws. What are they? 4 natural laws. Everyone should have this memorized. This is my mission, to drill this into your brain so it's tattooed on the inner forehead of your brain so you can remember it. Hey, number 1, clean the colon. Number 2, clean the small intestine. Number 3, clean the blood. Number 4, take perfect nutrition. And a lot of you, maybe you come in, you do a couple colonics, and you think, yeah, I feel much better, which you do. But it takes at least 10 days, guys, to thoroughly clean the colon, at least. And what we find is with our 10-dayers that come to us, most of the people that come to us to do a 10-day retreat, there's a few people that come here for preventative reasons, but most of them are pretty sick, or they're just tired of having that joint pain or that brain fog or that constipation or the joint pain or the arthritis. And they're saying, I want to get my back hurts. They're having all these issues, right? They come to see us to see what we can provide. And when we clean out the body, when we clean out the colon, you're going to get better. I don't care what you have. I've seen it. I've seen so many people get better. And we've had some pretty sick people down here. Don't believe me? Go over to the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on Success Stories, and you'll see a lot of stories, people just like you, trying to live their best life. But, you know, it's their body is like an old 40-year-old car that's never had the oil changed. It's never had new spark plugs. The tires are old, and they're creeping around. They're thinking, well, it's just aging. No, it's not aging. It's a toxic body. I'm going to tell you, the normal that you want to strive for is somebody like Jack LaLanne, who at age 94 was still on talk shows and going to events and speaking in front of thousands and thousands of people and still doing all the exercises and living his best life. That is the normal that you should strive for. Not, oh, I'm retired. I'm 69 years old. I just don't have any energy. I'm just going to sit here and watch TV all day. I'd like to go visit my grandkids, but you know, I just got too much pain. I can't do that right now. Yeah, I'd like to go do something else, but God, my memory, I don't have a good memory. Well, it's because of toxicity. We got to begin with your second brain, and that's your gut. That's your colon and small intestine. Every organ in your body connects to the colon and small intestine, whether it's your kidneys, your liver, your right arm, your eyes, your ears, your lungs, your spleen, your legs, back. Everything connects to the colon and small intestine. In the webinar, The 4 Natural Laws of Healing, you'll see that iridology chart that shows you how it all laid out. It's fascinating. I mean, I have people come in here that are swinging hammers for a living, framing houses. They can't swing the hammer anymore. 5 or 6 days later, guess what? After countless chiropractic treatments, countless other treatments, they can now do it by doing colon hydrotherapy. Nothing wrong with the other treatments they did, but you got to treat the gut first because that's the foundation for how you're living. You want to live your best life? You got to do colon hydrotherapy. Colonoscopy is not cleaning you out. I know a lot of you say, well, gee, I got flushed out. I sat on the toilet so long that I had to have a TV in my bathroom. And I went through 3 books, pooping my brains out all night because I was taking the prep stuff. And what that does, guys, literally, it's basically a strong laxative, and it's just causing diarrhea. With diarrhea, what is it? Well, your body's got this emergency reserve of water. And the water is there, and it says, when we get a virus or a bacteria in the colon, we need to blow it out. We're going to give you diarrhea. Well, these laxatives are basically causing that water to purge. And so you're going to flush out. And of course, now you're going to be dehydrated, but that's what they're doing. And so, yes, you will see a lot of stuff come out of you. But I've had people come in here after the colonoscopy to do a colon hydrotherapy treatment, and they're like amazed of how much came out. I've had clients that have came and did our 10-day healing retreat, not long after doing colon hydrotherapy or colonoscopy, and actually blown away that on their 8th, 9th, and 10th day here on our healing retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center, that, wow, David, I can't believe how much came out of me. It was shocking. I mean, that tube was full the whole session. Yeah, because you've had stuff stored up in there because of stress, emotions. And that colon, as you see in the webinar, 4 Natural Laws of Healing, you'll see how it gets twisted and distorted. That's all caused by stress in your life, my friend. And for you to get it back to a more natural shape, you're never going to get it perfect because you're always going to have a little stress, maybe a lot of stress. And you're eating some of the wrong foods, and it gets twisted and distorted. But you can with colon hydrotherapy. So think about this. You've got a small rectal tube the size of a pencil. You insert it yourself. It's very easy to do. You're not going to feel a thing. It's not painful. Water's going to trickle in, and then water's going to flush out. You're basically going to be on this specially made bed where you're going to basically poop for 45 to 50 minutes. And you're going to have multiple bowel movements. And you're going to hydrate that tissue. And when you start hydrating the tissue, those of you who've got the colon is basically shrunk down from a standard 3 to 3.5 inches down to maybe a ½ inch in places. Maybe there's some kinks there, some blockages. It's going to hydrate that tissue. It's going to help take out those kinks. And it's going to start creating peristalsis. Peristalsis is the squeezing of the muscle that your body, that smooth muscle, that your body activates to create a bowel movement. And for those of you not having regular bowel movements, you need to do colon hydrotherapy because it's going to teach that colon to do the proper thing because you shut it down through stress. So undo the stress, get hydrated, And like I've had people come in, they've drinking a gallon of water a day, gallon and a half of water a day. They can't get things to move because it's so blocked up. If that's you, make a call to Living Waters Wellness Center, 208-378-9911. 378-9911. It's your true 911 for constipation. You should be having at least 3 bowel movements a day. If you're eating 3 times a day, you should be pooping 3 times a day. And it should be a nice formed poop, and it shouldn't smell a whole lot. It shouldn't float. It should sink, and it should not stink a whole lot. Colon hydrotherapy for the win. So completely different than colonoscopy. But if you're properly taking care of that colon, you're going to have great reviews from your doctor or your GI doctor when he looks at your colon, if you're doing the right things. We'll be back in a moment. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 20-25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.
Welcome back. David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. If you want to have your miracle, our next cleanse coming up is February the 6th. Come join us for the 10-day healing retreat. You can see the list of our dates on the calendar at livingwaterscleanse.com under 10-day healing retreat. If you want to learn what colon hydrotherapy is, then go over and click on treatments, click on colonics, and you're going to see how a colonic is done. Everyone should know how a colonic is done. It's actually one of the most refreshing, energizing things you can do for your body and healing things for the body. We've been talking about colonoscopies versus colon hydrotherapy. Should you do one or the other? What's the difference? And yes, many of you should probably do both. Now, there are risks, as I mentioned in the last segment. You want to rewind this and go back and listen to what the recommendations and the risks are. You might want to go over to Whole Body Detox Show on the podcast and rewind the show and start there and listen to it. So there are some risks with colonoscopies. There's no doubt about that. Not a lot of fun if you do the standard prep, but there is an alternative prep, and that's colon hydrotherapy. So if you want to go do a colonoscopy, then come down here, schedule at least 3 sessions of colonics, at least 3. If you're an existing client, 3 be perfect. Now, if you're somebody who's constipated, you're probably going to do more than that. You might want to do 5 or 6. I don't know. But I've had some of you come in here that's so constipated, 5 colonics in, and this is very, very rare, by the way, you're still not releasing until maybe that 6th colonic, and all of a sudden, boom, because the colon was so twisted and so backed up and blocked, and the old poop that's been in there for a long, long, long time is like concrete. And hydration is your buddy, because if you hydrate that colon long enough, even the hardest of old poop and matter in there is going to break up and release. The worst I've ever seen was a guy that came in here, had been 2 months. He could barely talk. Shocking he was still alive, in my opinion. I couldn't believe it. It took 11 days before I broke free. He thought he birthed a baby. He said it hurt so bad. He had a lot of junk in the trunk. And I think he said he lost 25 pounds. That's a lot of stuff, guys. 25 pounds. Think of a turkey. He basically had the size of a turkey in his colon. This colon is very flexible. It can get as big as 17 inches in diameter, from 3 to 17. That's a lot of poop. And what that means is, as I mentioned in previous episodes, pooping in the pelvis was one of them, is that stuff's squishing the tissue and the blood's getting dirty and the lymphatics getting dirty, and it's going to lead to breast cancer. It's going to lead to maybe liver cancer. It's going to lead to edema. It's going to lead to neuropathy when you have old poop sitting in there. So those of you with those issues, neuropathy and so forth, you want to do some colon hydrotherapy. You can get rid of that pain and that tingling by getting rid of the inflammation, because inflammation comes from toxins. And the first way most people create the toxins in their body is through not pooping adequately. Colon hydrotherapy is the boss when it comes to getting you back to wellness. It's your foundation. Look at you would if your house had a crack up in there. Let's say you got a 2-story house, and you notice up and you say, "Oh my gosh, up there by that window, there's a crack in the wall. Oh my gosh, it's causing the window to start to crack. What's going on? I don't know. I'll call a contractor." The contractor comes out and he says, "Hey, I got it. I got some perfect tape. I got some putty. We can paint over that. I'll make a little different angle to that window. Yeah, look a little crooked, but we can take care of it." Okay, that's treating a symptom. But if the guy was smart, a smart contractor, he'd look down and go, what's going on with the foundation? Maybe he crawls under the house and he goes, "Oh my gosh, you've got water damage here and you got a cracked foundation. It's sinking. Well, we better jack this house up and boost this foundation up, get it level again. And then we go putty. And then we go fill in the crack and take care of paint and fix that. Foundation, that's your gut. So colonoscopy is not doing any of those things. It's just coming out and taking a look around. And sometimes, because most of you left a toxic lifestyle, you could have a polyp or a tumor. As I mentioned earlier, what are they? They're just big toxic buckets. And your body says, "Hey, I gotta store this stuff someplace." Now, some of you have your toxins stored in the forms of hives and rashes. Some of you have these tumors and cysts. Maybe you have a cyst on your ovary. "Oh, I gotta have my ovaries out. Oh, I gotta have my uterus out." Yeah, they want to do a full hysterectomy. Maybe not so fast. I've had people cleanse out the body and see it all heal. I've had people come in here with severe issues in their colon, tumor in their rectum, tumor in their colon. And they wanted to use our facilities to help mitigate that damage. And by golly, they went back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Wow, this is all shrunk down. Wasn't all the way gone in 10 days, but it was on its way." See, the body will purge this stuff out if you give it a chance. And your only way of giving it a chance, A, stop eating the toxins. B, eat organic. Throw out the microwave. Don't drink out of aluminum. Don't drink out of metal. Drink out of glass. Stay away from these toxins. Do not buy non-organic food. Don't buy box food. Throw it in a microwave and eat that stuff. Because your body, your liver says, "Hey, dude, you know what? I can't address your hormones today. I can't address the thyroid issues. And I'm out of room here. I got to put this stuff someplace. Where am I going to put it? I know. I'm going to create a cyst over here. I'm going to create a tumor over here in the colon. That'll be a good place to put it." Or for those with joint pain, you've got this stuff in your joints. You can't squeeze your hands. Maybe it's hard to bend your knees. Maybe your muscles are having a lot of soreness. Especially because of toxicity. Your poor lymphatic system, 45 pints of fluid there, has been taking and sucking up some of these toxins via the dripping of this interstitial fluid out of the capillaries of your blood system. Because, where did that stuff come from? Well, it came from the colon, the poop squeezing into the tissue, into the blood, drips into the tissues of the body. Lymphatic picks it up, and you're not moving enough. You're sedentary. You're sitting on the couch. You're watching football on Monday nights and on Sunday nights, and on Saturdays you're watching basketball. You're not moving. You're not jumping up and down. So now the lymphatic system is literally stopped because there's no pump for the lymphatic system. None. We have a tool here. We've mentioned the show, I think, last week. A lymphatic tool, I call it. It's a whole body vibration machine. And when you start shaking on that starts moving it. So for those of you who quit doing jump rope when you got into your adulthood and hopscotch and running and walking and so forth, your lymphatics stagnant. And the only reason those things become cancerous is because of stagnicity. So we want to get that cleaned out. You clean that out, you are going to get better. Your whole body's going to get better. And then we dump the liver. And then we dump out those parasites. So that is your best method for getting this toxicity out of the body. To do that properly, you want to come to our 10-day healing retreat. A few colonics is going to help. You're going to feel better. I'm actually amazed when people come in and they do one colonic and go, oh man, that's great. I have some of you will come in and you go like, man, I wasn't so great. I didn't feel so good. I had a little nausea. That happens. But it's not a big deal. You'd rather have a little nausea now, take care of it by continuing to cleanse the body, get the body clean. You won't have nausea. You won't have headaches. You won't have joint pain. You're going to live your best life. You're going to keep your brain power. Last night I refereed 2 basketball games, and stuff I probably couldn't have done when I was 30, my 30s. I'm going to live the Jack LaLanne life. For those of you who don't know who Jack LaLanne was, the younger crowd there, go Google Jack LaLanne. He was the father of basically the first gyms and the exercise equipment. He was a guy that at 72 jumped in the bay out there in San Francisco and pulled, I think, 72 people in rowboats across the bay with his teeth while he was swimming. That's incredible. That's how you want to live, right? You want to have that ability. You can be running around. I had a guy the other day. This was pretty cool. He saw some of my videos and what I've been doing. And he says, how old are you, Dave? Have you even got close to 50 yet? I said, thank you very much, my friend. But I'm going to tell you, when I was in my late 30s, or in my early 30s, actually, I felt like I was someone in my 80s. My body hurt. My back hurt. I was going to the chiropractor every single day. I was getting massage treatments at least twice a week. Once a week, I would go drive 2 hours from here to see my acupressurist, and I'd go soak in the hot springs. My whole Fridays were taken up just trying to live my life. I was praying every night to God, please let me live. Please don't give me cancer. And of course, cancer was already in my body. I didn't know it. Didn't discover it for about 5 or 6 more years. Had a son that came to me when I was age 40, and I thought, God, am I going to be able to see this kid graduate? Am I going to see him even get to first grade? This is a big deal. And I was really, really concerned because I hurt all the time. And I was frequent urination. I mean, I was going to the bathroom 7, 8, 9, 10 times a night. I mean, I wasn't sleeping. I was just walking back and forth, wearing a hole in the rug, going to the bathroom. You got frequent urination issues, you got no urination issues. That's a big deal. You probably got enlarged prostate. Then cleansing is stat. If you're not peeing like you should be peeing, guys, you've got toxicity. And the only way to relieve that toxicity without surgery is colon hydrotherapy in our 10-day deep tissue cleanse. Some of the first people we helped with prostate issues were told that they did not have long to live. One had a PSA number of 42, another one of 38. By doing the 10-day healing retreat, their numbers went to 0. And they were declared, quote, miracles. No, it's just basic common sense. You clean out those heavy metals, those toxins, and that old poop and fecal matter, you're going to get better. Look, my father-in-law had 4 months to live. He lived another 12 years. My dad's still alive. He was given 2 years to live. It's been 14 years? 14 years. Yeah, bought a brand new John Deere tractor a couple years ago. Still doing what he wants to do, living on his own. My mom and dad are not in nursing homes like so many people are. You don't need to be there. I would submit to you, if nursing homes put in colonic systems, they would probably lose 75% of their patients. I truly believe that. You know, most of them, you're eating very toxic food, and you're getting more chemicals, and they can't think properly. You know, I had a gal come in here. She was 84 years of age, and all she could do is get up, sit in her chair. She says, Dave, I can barely make breakfast. I'd eat 1 meal a day. Here's a gal who's been constipated her whole life. Had her gallbladder removed. Had her, I think she had her tonsils removed, appendix removed. Because she's constipated when she's in her 20s. Now she's 80-some years old. Still not pooping well, no energy. Gets done with the cleanse, she goes, oh my God, I'm gonna take up painting again. I'm gonna take up some hobbies. I can do things. Amazing change. She was so excited. She left here after doing colonics, and she went shopping, and she had called me. She says, David, I went to the store. I had to go find a bathroom. I had to poop again. Things were moving. You don't have to be constipated. You don't have to be sick. You don't have to live like an old man or old woman. You can get your brain back. You can get your health back. I, at age 55, refereed 55 basketball games in 21 days. Basically, I was running a marathon every day, I figured out. I couldn't do that in my 30s. Definitely couldn't. I couldn't do it in my 20s either. I mean, in my late 20s, I was already hurting so bad. And I was, doing all these things. But look at colon hydrotherapy is key. Colonoscopies are not something you do every day. Again, they're a way to take a look at things. Again, they come with their risks, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the show. If you need to rewind this and go back, go to Whole Body Detox Show, grab the podcast, subscribe to it, give us a review if you like the show. But listen to that first section. We talk about all those risks, and there's a better way, and that's colon hydrotherapy, even for the prep. Do the prep the proper way. We can guide you on that. But you do the colonics. You do 3 or 4 colonics in a row. And what you do is you come here that morning that you're scheduled. You come in here about 9 o'clock. You do your colon hydrotherapy session. Then you go down to the hospital or doctor's office, wherever you're going to go at, say, 11, 12 o'clock. You're going to have a nice clean colon. And the doctors back east who are getting so fed up with their clients skipping their treatment because they just didn't like the laxatives they had to eat and sitting on the toilet. So long as it says here on this website, take a television with you. Yeah, if you don't want to do that, if you don't have a television in your bathroom, and you don't want to have, again, you're going to be on the toilet so much, they say you need to put some stuff on your rectum because it's not going to be fun. Not fun. Let's make it easy. Let's make it acceptable. If you're going to do it the right way. Do it with colon hydrotherapy. 2 completely different treatments. I had someone on this other forum the other day, and they have colitis and Crohn's, I can't remember which one. But both of those, we've had clients with those, and they've healed that up following the recommendations that we gave them. We had one gal come in, she's down to 87 pounds. 87 pounds. Been having constant diarrhea for 4 years. Been to the hospital several times. Says, okay, I'm not doing that again. Went off and did some other natural treatments like enzyme therapy and acupuncture. I mean, all great tools. But again, the foundation, guys, is your colon and your small intestine. To treat that, we got to do colon hydrotherapy. Now, she was told, oh, no, you're too sick. You're too frail. You're 87 pounds. You're too weak to do it. I looked at her, this gal with blue-gray skin and very mangy hair, and I says, this is what's going to heal you. You're going to do a 10-day healing retreat, and you're going to turn this around. And by golly, she did. She could go back to working full-time eventually and could start exercising. Now she's living her best life. She was a young thing, and she gained 10 pounds on the cleanse. She gained 10. She didn't lose more. So some of you that are light in weight, I had a gal this week, she says, I'm an X weight, and I'm really concerned about it. I want to lose more weight. And I says, you'll probably gain. Your body will get back to balance, and it'll restore as it's intended. Your body's working hard for you every single day. You got to take the load off. Take off the toxicity. Get rid of the microwave. Start drinking out of glass. Drink plenty of water per day. Good quality nutrition. Clean the gut out. You got 30-some feet of intestinal pipe to take care of. Surface area the size of a tennis court. You got a lot of surface area to take care of. Colon hydrotherapy is for the win. Easy enough to do and very, very, very affordable. Really, very affordable. So, lots of miracles happening right now in our 10-day healing retreat. You want to get yours? Go over and check out what other people have experienced. livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on success stories. We've got 14 pages. I could probably put another, I don't know, I got a lot of other assets of people telling their story. I just haven't got them published yet up on the website, a little behind down here. So anyway, you want to go look at that, and then you want to give us a consult. Maybe you want to come take a tour and say, hey, is this the right place for me? You want to fill out an intake form and come down for, I'll give you a free consult, 15, 20-minute consult, usually longer. We usually talk for a lot longer. But, and you'll check it out, and you'll decide if it's the right thing for you. Watch the video, 4 Natural Laws of Healing, over at the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. 4 Natural Laws of Healing. Have your whole family watch it, and then you start taking the right nutrition, and you can be a lot better. And one of the things for the right nutrition is a thing called a patch. It's called the Stem Cell Activating Patch. Go to stemcellpatch.net. It's over on our website, stemcellpatch.net. And fill out the little form if you want to try these little patches out. They're a great tool. They're turning your body's ability on to make its own stem cells. Don't have to do surgery. It's non-invasive. A little patch apply on, and we've been seeing some amazing treatments. We're going to be back next week with our special guest. We'll be talking about those patches, but you want to check it out before then, stemcellpatch.net. And of course, taking good, proper nutritional supplement, which we have here at Living Waters Wellness Center. If you want to see how your status of your tissues are in your body, we have a special machine to diagnose that. It just takes a couple minutes. You've been listening to the Whole Body Detox Show. I'm your host, David DeHaas. Be back next week for another edition of the Whole Body Detox Show. Have a blessed week, my friends.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.